So hello guys, welcome to Java JSM, and in this video we can talk about what is the stereotype annotations, what are the beans and what is configuration, what is the purpose of it and why we are using it. Okay, all those things we can discuss in this video. And in the last classes we have covered what is the setter injections, constructor injections, field injections, when we can take it and what is the mandatory fields we have to do and how object creation will happen. So let's start with the today classes. Okay, so in the today class what we can discuss is stereotype annotations. Okay, so stereotype annotations in the Spring we have a component scans. So let me start stereotype annotation, type annotation. Okay, so in the stereotype annotations, if I talk about so in the Spring we have, in a Spring Boot we have component scan annotations, right, which we have already discussed. Okay, component scans, and those are inbuilt functionality. We don't want to write those things, because if you see the Spring Boot application annotation, inside this only they have annotated @component scans, and it is the process of searching bean or a Spring Bean, you can say also a Spring Bean. So it will searching the Spring Bean in our project, or beans available in our project or package, right, and those are available inside the component scan is a part of the Spring Boot application itself. So you can write here also @component scan is a part of a Spring, let me write annotations, a Spring Boot application. Okay, so those things we already know. If you see here, we have a one class called a Spring Boot. So let me show. So in that class, if you go to the starter class, and if you see in the starter class we have a one annotation called a Spring Boot application, and if you open this annotation, so component scans is part of this annotation. So if you see in the top of these annotations we are using the component scans, enable auto configuration and a Spring Boot configurations. A Spring Boot configuration is equivalent to the configurations only. Okay, let's go to our notepad and let's try to understand how we are representing our class as a Spring Boot. Okay, so how to represent Java class as a Spring Boot. Okay, so annotating, we have some annotation to make our Java class as a Spring Boot. So we can follow those approach and we can do it. Okay, right? Okay, now what are the annotations we have? So to represent the Java class as a Spring Boot, we have several annotations. For example, we have a component scans. No, we have a component. So component is one of the annotations. With the help of that we can represent our class as a a spring bill. Okay, we have the another annotation is service. Okay, the third annotations we have, which is repository. Repository. So this is the three annotations, which is stereotype annotation, and it's helping us to create what? Create our class as a spring bill. So what are the Java class we have? He will help us to create Java class as a spring bill. So in the note you can write down all above annotations are, or all above are the stereo, STEREO type annotation. Correct? All are the stereotype annotations. What is the use of the component? So component we are using for the utility classes. Utility classes to represent as a spring bill. Or not only the utility classes, sometimes we are annotating for the DAO also, sometimes we are annotating some other thing also, so that is possible. Okay, the second one is service. So service is for the business logic. Okay, so service class is responsible to handle the business logic. So whatever the logics we are going to write, which we are going to write inside the service class, and we are introducing those class as a @service. Repository is nothing but persistent layer logic. Persistent layer logic means DAO classes or repository classes which is interacting with the database. So that is responsible to make as a @repository, @service or @component. This is the three annotation, and all those annotations are the stereotype annotations. I hope you understood. Okay, the next annotations we have, which is @configurations. Let me write the four annotations, which is @configurations. That is also very important annotation. Okay, it is used to represent our class as Java configuration class or config class. Okay, they have a responsibility, like we can configure data source bin also. So the responsibility of the configuration is we can configure data source. Okay, bin. So in your project, if you want to configure your database with the help of the Java program, not with the properties file, then definitely you have to take the help of these configuration annotations and you can configure it. In the configuration, with the help of the configuration annotations, we are using we can configure, configure what? Swagger also. Swagger configuration we can do. The third thing is we can do REST templates configure. So we can configure REST template or web client. Okay, web client. So those things we can configure with the help of the @configuration annotations. So I hope as of now I have explained you like how to use component, how to use service, how to use repository, also configurations I show you, right? Configuration is nothing but Spring Boot configurations only, it's equivalent to that one. Okay, so this is the things which you have to understand as a theory parts. Now write some note. The note is at the rate component, at the rate service, or at the rate repository configuration. These are the class level annotations, or are the class level annotation. Whatever we have discussed the annotation as of now, component, service, repository, configurations, those are the class level annotations. All above are the class level annotations, right? So for example, the class level annotations, and so far that the annotation IOC container is responsible to create a Java object for that. Okay, and for that annotations, or for that annotations, IOC is responsible to create a Spring beans. So for that, IOC is responsible to create a Spring beans for the above annotations. Okay, understood? Now, for example, if you have your own class, for example, if you have your own class, and if you have your own class and you want to create the object for that, so how you can create it? Okay, so normally in the Java class, if you want to represent the class as a Spring bean, but the IOC container should not create the object. Okay, so what you can do? Okay, so if you have to create your, if you want your own class as a Spring bean, but you don't want to create with IOC, and you are giving the restrictions, hey, IOC will not create the object for that, I myself I want to create my class object. So for example, you have a one class called user manager dot Java, and this is your class, and you want to create beans for that you are not going to annotate those class as any Spring bean. Okay, and you want the object for that, so how you can do it? Okay, so in that case you have to take the help of @bean annotations. Okay, so the new annotations are introduced here, which is @bean annotation, and with the help of the bean annotations we can create your class as a Spring bean, but those are not created by the IOC containers, those are created by yourself. If you annotate any, and make sure this bean is a what? This bean is a method level annotations. Okay, so for example, let me write here, if you want to customize your class object and creating bean for customizing the customizing your class object and creating, then we can go with the bean annotation. So if you want to customize your class object while creating an object for that, then you can go with @bean annotation. Okay, next thing is like bean is a method label. So bean is method label annotations. level annotations. It's not a class level annotation, so you have to take care those things. Okay, I hope this is clear for you, and that is very important. Okay, and let's try to understand like how exactly it will work. Okay, so let's go to our STS. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create one project. Okay, and the project name is Spring Boot starter project. Okay, and in the Spring Boot starter project we can write Spring Boot app, and this is called configuration and build. Okay, I'm not going to add anything, so just add the dev tools, next, and finish it. Okay, so our project is created. Let's try to see those annotations. So it's going to import it, so make sure you have an internet connection so that it will create the properly project. Okay, so for example, this project is created and this is the main methods. Okay, let me remove this also and let me minimize it. So control and minus. Okay, here I am going to create one class which is some normal class like user manager, right? The user manager class I have created, and in this class I am going to create one constructor. Okay, so user managers, and this should be a public user managers, and here I am going to write some s out. Okay, user manager managers, and just annotate. And if you see this class, we have not annotated with the any stereotype annotations, not a configuration, component, service, repository, we have not annotated here. Okay, and what we are going to do is we are expecting like the object will created for that automatically. Do you think it is possible? It's not possible. It will not create the object for that. Okay, it will not create the object for that. If you see here in the console, there is no object creation happening. Okay, there is no object creation happening here. So what happened? Object will be not created for the user manager. If I make the stereotype annotation, it will create the object for that automatically. Okay, okay, fine. I am going to create one more class, database configuration, right? Database configurations, and this class I am going to annotate at the rate configurations, correct? And here I am going to create one method, one constructor called database configurations, and just s out and just give some star and what database configuration annotation, database configuration constructor. Okay, this is the one line of the code I have written inside this. Here also let me write constructor, okay, fine. And now I am going to run the same project once again. So if I run the same project once again, what will happen? For the configurations, database configuration, the object will be created. It means a Spring Bean is created with the help of the constructor injections, right? If you see here, our constructor is running while creating an object for that, right? So this is the configurations, right? And this is the database configurations, and you want to return the database configuration from inside this, right? So what you can do? So for example, you want to write some configuration part for your database, okay? For example, publics Oracle database driver maybe, or data source. You are trying to create the object for that. Right now it's not showing, so just write database, okay, database, or in that, from this inside the let me add the what we can add, any one dependency, okay, later we can do it, but right now just understand, if you want to create the object with your own, then what you have to do in the configurations class? You have to write public, okay. For example, I want to create the object for this user manager inside the configurations. So what I can write? Public, okay, user manager get instance, okay, get instance, and from that I can return new user managers, okay. Object is created. Do you think it will work and it will create the object for the user manager? I don't think. Let me run. So if you want to create the object, so only database configurations object will be created. It's not created for the user managers, okay. So what you have to do is, in that class you have to annotate @bean, @bean. So once you provide the annotations @bean, and again if you try to run this project, then you can see the object will be created or not. Now if you see, the user manager constructor also call happen and object is created. So now tell me, the object is created by IOC containers or object is created by developer or ourselves? So in that case, there is no stereotype annotation at the class level, but as a developer we have created the object for that class with the help of @bean, right? I hope you understood. In the same way, in the configurations class, we are creating a beans for the some other object, maybe data source, maybe swagger, maybe REST template, right? And for that we are creating the object and we are customizing it here, and then we are sending it back. So bean is responsible to create customized object for developer. It's not created by the IOC container, but IOC is responsible to execute this line, right? Because of this configurations. Okay, if I remove these configurations, what will happen? What do you think? If I remove those configurations, what will happen? The class itself will not recognize. The class itself will not recognize. Okay, so if the class itself is not recognized as a Spring Bean, then how object will created for this? So make sure you have to annotate those class as a configurations, then only other class object also will be created by the help of this class. So I hope you understood what is the use of @configuration, what is the use of @bean. Okay, and you already know what is the benefits of the component, repository, services. Some more annotations also we can understood. Only one things you have to remember is, for the bean annotations we are using to customize our Java object, and bean is a method label annotations. If you are trying to use the bean here, it will not work. @bean, it's not showing, right? So it's a only method label annotations. Okay, even if you write here in anything like component, it will work. Okay, and if you run it, it will work fine. There is no issue in that. Let me run one more times. So database configuration constructor will call happen, user manager constructor call will happen. Okay, so the object is also created for the this class, and also object will create for the user manager class with the help of the @bean annotation, which is method label annotations. So I hope you understood, guys, like what is the importance of the @bean. Okay, the next thing is, we have a lots of the annotations, right? Like a class level annotations we have. Okay, so let me write down here. The class level annotations is class level annotations. So class level annotations we have discussed, like @service, @component, @repository, @configuration, @component scan for a Spring Boot application. You have to remember all those annotations, that is mandatory. @component scan, enable auto configurations, okay, and Spring Boot configurations. Those are the notations which we are using at the class levels. So those are the class levels. Okay, so the below, like if I talk about the @controller, okay, controller, or @REST controller, these are the also two annotation which is a class level annotations, and these annotations having some responsibility. Okay, so these annotations will also represent Java class as a Spring Bean. The above two annotation also represent Java class as Spring Bean, right? Those are also responsible to make your class as a Java beans. These two are also a class level annotations, and these are class level annotation. You can't use in the method level, it means. Okay, and those two annotations are the parts of the Spring Boot modules, Spring Boot MVC modules, and these two annotations are part of a Spring Boot MVC module. Okay, so here no need to discuss, I think later we can discuss in the depth, but as of now just you have to aware about it, like what is the component scan, what is the controller, what is the REST controllers, and what where we can write those annotations also. Okay, so these two annotations are very important, it will play lots of the roles. So generally while creating a REST controllers or API, we are making those class as a REST controllers, and controllers we are using in the while creating a handler methods, okay, or handler class in the Spring Boot MVC, that time we are using the controller also. And sometimes we are saying a REST controller is equivalent to the controller plus a response body. So this is the 4 line of the code you have to write down, like REST controller is equal to controller plus response body. The response body is nothing but XML or JSON object. Okay, I hope guys you are clear on that two annotations. Okay, let's go and understand some more concept about the auto add. Okay, so for example, this is the configurations. Okay, let's create one more project. Let's create one more project which is auto add. Auto add. So this is the project we have created. Let me close, which we are not using. So this is the auto add project which we have created. In that auto add, I am going to create one service class, com.app.service. Okay, and here I will write user service. Okay, or maybe you can write database service. Okay, let me write database service, base service. So this is the one service classes. I am going to annotate this class at the rate service. Correct. In the same way, I am going to create one more package, and the package name is DAO. So dot DAO, and we can represent one class as a database DAO. Okay, this is not a class, this is the interface, right? This is the interface, and for that interface we have some method, okay, which we are going to discuss here. Okay, so what I am going to do is I am going to write one method called public public's string connection, db connections. This is the method name. Okay, in the service we don't want to specify those things. Okay, So this method is created. For that implemented class I am going to create. So I am going to create one more package, IMPL. Okay, otherwise in the same class you can write two more classes like Oracle database DAO IMPL, Oracle DB DAO IMPL, Oracle DAO IMPL. So this is the one class, and this is going to implement database DAO. Database DAO. Correct? We have to provide the implementation also. So we can write connection is created. So here we can write S out, and we can write Oracle DB connection is created, and here you can return some data, anything. Otherwise you can make it void also. Void, no need to return anything, just connection is created. Go to the DAO, remove it here, void, fine. Right? So one class we have created, we have provided the implementation also. One more class I am going to create, and in this class I will write MySQL DB DAO IMPL. Okay, and this class is also going to implement what? Database DAO. Correct? Provide the implementations. So simply you can print this out, and MySQL connection is created. Simple message we are printing here. Okay, now the problem is, let me refresh it. Okay, the problem is, this is the com.app, this is the DAO, and this is the service. So we are in the service, okay, and in the service I am going to call the DAO methods. Okay, so I will mark as a private database DAO. Database DAO. Database DAO. And we can provide @auto. This is the field level injections we are going to provide here. Okay. And with the field level injections, we have one more method here. Okay. Publics void check DB connection or test DB connections. What are the methods you want, you can write it, and from that database DAO dot DB connections method we are going to call. Okay, this is the simple logic. Okay, and what I am going to do is, this method I am going to call from our starter class. Okay, so let me open the starter class also. In this starter class we can first take the beans. Okay, so this is the context generally. Next what we can do is we can write here like context dot get bean, and we can provide the class name which is service class name, database not database, database service class, which is our class only, dot class. Okay, once you write it, control 1, you can take the bean of database service, and with the help of this database service bean you can call your those method. Okay, so database service bean dot check connections method we are going to call. Right, are you able to understand? I hope so. We are getting the database service object here, and from that we are calling the DB connections. So once you call the DB connection, it will go to the service class. In the service class it will initialize with the auto add this one, and then it will call the DB connections, right? And in the DB collections we have two implemented classes, MySQL or Oracle, and those class it's our responsibility to make as a what, a repository, because it's a DAO classes. So we can make those both classes are at the repository, so that bean object will be created. That's it, right? Bean object will be created inside the service class. For that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put here one debugger, and let me run this code and give me, if anyone can guess like what is the issue here. So let's try to debug this code. So if I run this code, it will go and it will stop here. Okay, it's before that only it's throwing the error. So go to the console and check it, what is the error. So if you see the error, it's saying field database DAO in the com.service.database service required a single bean, but two were found. Okay, so they are saying like this service class need only one bean, but they are providing the two beans, which is MySQL DB IMPL, Oracle DB IMPL. So which one I have to take? The IOC itself confused and he not able to send it. Okay, so those problems how we can resolve it. Okay, if you have a two implemented classes, okay, and both the implemented classes having the same responsibility, we have not annotated right now. So how you can handle those situations? So in that case, here the both objects are able to come here as a beans, but the IOC container is saying I have a two, which one I will give you, because this having a two implemented classes. If you see the implementation, MySQL DB IMPL, Oracle DB IMPL, which one you want? So there is one solution is make any one class as a primary. Okay, make any class as a primary. So if you make any class as a primary, so it will go to the responsibility to those class only, and it will give the object of the primary class. So if you make the Oracle DB DAO IMPL, so it will execute and it will do the operation. So if you see here, it will come the Oracle DB DAO IMPL. So let me run one more times. Now I think it will not give any issue, so it's not given any issue. And if you see here, the database is Oracle DB DAO IMPL object is created. And if you stop it, you can see Oracle database connection is created. If you make remove this primary here and go and make the primary to these classes, which is MySQL. Any one should be primary, so it will resolve your issue. Let me run one more times. So it's in debug mode. If you see here, the MySQL DB-IMPL object is created. Okay, so I hope you understood. Okay, because of the primary. If you remove the primary, again you can get the issue. So I hope you understood what is the role of primary and how it will work. Okay, so primary is one of the annotation which is providing the priority of particular class to give the Spring Boot those. Okay, so those are the primary annotations. Next thing is, we already understood what is the auto-wire. So auto-wire having a responsibility to inject the object and get those object and store inside those field. Or maybe you are going to perform a setter injection, then setter way. If you are going to do the constructor injections, it will do the constructor injection, it will place the object here. Okay, that is fine. So this is the auto-wire responsibility. Is there any way to make? Okay, so we have one more way. What we can give is, this is repository. In the repository itself, it can provide the name of this particular class. Not a class, it's a bin name. So you can give the Oracle, and this class is Oracle, and this class is MySQL bin. So whenever the object will created in the IOC for this class, Oracle DB-IMPL or MySQL DB-IMPL, based on this name, the object will be created. Then what you can do? You can go to the field level, which is database interface DAO, and make here one more annotations, which is qualifier. We have one more annotations called qualifier, and based on the qualifier you can provide the name, which one you want. You want MySQL, then write MySQL. If you want Oracle, write Oracle here. Based on that, the object it will provide, and you can use those objects. Okay, let me run this code. So if you see here, the database DAO is given the MySQL. Okay, and let me finish it. You can see MySQL connection is created. Let me give here Oracle. Okay, so if you give the Oracle database connection will be created because of this qualifier name. So Oracle database is created. So I hope you understood what is the benefits and what is the use of qualifier, what is the use of primary, what is the use of auto-wire, what is the use of @bin. Those annotations I hope guys you have clear. If you have a two implemented classes, let me clear. For example, you have a one interface. The interface name is database DAO. Okay, and this is the interface, right? And for that interface you have a two classes, MySQL DB DAO IMPL, MySQL DB DAO IMPL, and one more you have, which is Oracle DB DAO IMPL. So this is the two implemented classes you have. Okay, so this one is interface, this one is one of the class, and this one is another class. Okay, and those class are implemented by, those interface are implemented by those classes. and here you have a one service, database service. Base service class. Okay, what it will do, it will call the user DAO. It will call the user DAO. Hey, I want the object. So he have a both object, because those are the implemented class, they will provide the two object. So based on which one you want, so you have to decide, and recommended way also @qualifier, and in the qualifier you can pass the name, which is MySQL or Oracle, based on your requirement. Okay, and you can get the object of those. Okay, so I hope this picture is clear for you to understand like how exactly we are doing those things. Okay, so this is the two implemented classes we have. So this is the use of qualifier, auto add, primary in the service, and not only the service, even if you annotate this as a service or component, it will work. Okay, even it's a service, no issue, it will work in the same way. So if you not give the repository, it's a service. Why we are giving service? The service itself will create the Spring Bean. It says trio type annotations, but the bean names we are providing here, and based on that bean name we are reading those bean here with the help of the qualifier, and we are utilizing it. If I run it, you can see the output, which DTBs connection is created. So Oracle database connection is created. Okay, so I hope you understood like the whole things, like what I am trying to explain as of now.